Welcome to All the Rage Sports Talk. American Enterprise Institution finds Wells report deeply flawed.
Flawed?
And, oh no, he let her lick the whole go-go Throatzilla. Ooh. Well, Collins back in the news, and we're going to touch on the NBA Finals Game 6 tonight, and the Chicago Blackhawks are officially the Stanley Cup champions for 2015, and the K-Rob Race Report, Homer's Idiot of the Week, all when we return to All the Rage Sports.
Bill Nye is an ass.
With us, as always, is Jace Junk.
Please don't toss my salad.
Kevin Robinson.
I can turn left.
No, he can't.
Jesse's a bitch.
And our one and only Homer Adams.
Nope.
All right, so we're going to start off today talking about American Enterprise Institute has released a report saying that the Wells report is deeply flawed in their conclusive or in their evidence. Kevin, you're the one that broke this to us, so I want you to lead it off, and then we'll debate about what this really means and how it's going to affect this whole Deflategate scandal.
All right. Well, this report here, I first saw it on Uprock Sports. What the report actually showed was the fact that when they tested the balls for the Patriots, they did that right at halftime. They tested all 11 available balls, and when they tested them, they came out to actually the normal expected amount of decrease that you would see in the balls. When they tested the Colts balls, it was just at the end of halftime when they got to them. They only got to 4 of the 12 before they ran out of time, and they showed a significant increase in air pressure. The guys that wrote this article... I
want you to hear that when we play that back.
What?
Oh my God, that was so great. You went a significant increase.
Awesome. Leave it.
You auto-tuned the shit out of yourself. I don't know what's going on with your microphone, but you keep auto-tuning in and out.
Now, this study came along with an accompanying New York Times article written by Kevin A. Hassett and Stan A. Vuger, I think that's how you pronounce that, who authored the study. They are actually two gentlemen who were involved in the Bountygate investigation. They presented their similar findings at an NFL hearing in November 2012. The league then later vacated all player suspensions for Bountygate after they had testified.
And that was when Sean Payton got the suspension via Bountygate instead of the players.
Yeah.
All right, so the bottom line, it seems, the Wells report said there was a discrepancy in the pressure, saying that the Patriots were low, when really they are talking about just the difference was the discrepancy between the two balls, and that's what made it seem like the Patriots were low? Is that what this is trying to say?
Yes. They're not actually pointing... With that report, basically, what they don't actually sit there and point a finger at anybody, but due to the fact that the Colts balls actually showed an increase, the question then would be, did the Colts actually add air to their balls, or was it just a difference in the time that elapsed while they were testing the balls?
So they're saying that because of the time that elapsed, it could have been just that the Patriots balls lost the air naturally. And that's...
Well, no, the Patriots balls, when they were tested after they were brought in off the field after the first half. The Colts balls then sat inside the locker room the entire time that they were testing the Patriots balls, and they actually only got to test the first 4 balls of the Colts because they were pressed for time.
Okay, so let me just pose this question. So they tested all the Patriots balls. We're at least clear on that.
Yeah.
And they only got to test the first 4 balls that the Colts had.
Yeah.
And from everything that they've showed, they've been basically taking all the balls and then averaging them out, right? So that doesn't make any sense that they're already saying that the Colts balls had more air in them if they only got to test the first 4 before they were removed, which means that you wouldn't get a good average out of the Colts balls.
So if the discrepancy is the difference, that's still not an accurate reading because you only got 1/3 of the balls to fix an average.
Exactly, and you could skew the numbers way off by removing the other 7 balls, whatever it is. I'm not going to.
There's 12 balls. They did 4 of them. I just find it hard to think that. I mean, I understand this play. The Wells wasn't very definitive. They just weren't. They said this is probable. This might have happened. Here's this giant fucking long ass report, and if you want to read it, do yourself a favor and don't because it has nothing in it. Because it's pretty much what it was. It was a bunch of like, he may have done it, he may have knew, they may have done something happened, sort of, maybe, if. And this one just kind of says that the Colts balls may have been overinflated, which Aaron Rodgers has spoke that he likes them to be overinflated. Other quarterbacks have said that. So, is it against the rules also to be overinflated as it is to be underinflated? Or
well, I think basically you're not allowed to tamper with the footballs. Is the basic gist of the situation nowadays. It used to be back in the day that they could do whatever they wanted to the footballs. I mean,
hence why stick them.
The kickers alone. That's why they came out with the K balls. The kickers would sit there and they had like a science figured out as far as what specific compound of elements would make the ball the way they wanted it.
Yeah, they'd scrub all the film off. They'd rub off all the you couldn't throw one of the kicker balls because of how much grip was lost from them. They took like sandpaper to the damn thing. But,
less friction.
Yeah, if they could kick it another 4 yards because of such, they did it. The point is, I'm just getting to the point now where it's like, are we really nitpicking that much?
What bothers me the most is we become, we're a shoot first society. We're a shoot first, ask question later society. And now in sports, it's become a suspend first, get the facts later society.
Yeah, I will agree with you there.
Well, the only problem with the whole suspend first thing is there's with social media, and everybody's got sources now, no matter where you look at it. It's so hard to keep things quiet until you can actually get all the facts. So the commissioner, even though I know there's a lot of people out there that can't stand him, and I'm one of them, there's always such an automatic pressure that the first time that something comes out,
he has to react.
Instead of waiting and getting all the facts, he is forced to act. Otherwise, he will be.
Yeah, his image will go down the toilet so quickly.
He'll get drawn and quartered in New York City.
At what point, though, do we get to the point where it's defamation of character? Because you're suspending these guys for something that you have no proof for. In this instance here, Tom Brady really wouldn't have any legal case because nothing's actually really happened to him because they haven't even played the games that he's right now suspended for.
Right.
But in the case of, say, not to change sports, but Kurt Busch in that Pamela Driscoll incident where they suspended him for the first 3 races, then to find out that, well, he actually didn't do fucking anything, and now she's under investigation by the FBI, I saw.
Yeah.
And the IRS. That bitch is crazy.
So at what point do then, we're trying to hold these athletes to a higher standard, at what point do they then get to take legal recourse?
Well, I'm sure the Supreme Court will figure that out, and I'm pretty sure they're not going to listen to this fucking podcast when they make their decision.
Well, I mean,
they could.
They should. Honestly.
Well, they should,
everybody
but because they are overpaid and not smart.
Available on iTunes. We're available on iTunes.
Available on iTunes.
Even though
follow
I can't
us on Twitter
and our webpage. Anyway, which our page?
We're on iTunes somewhere.
It's a true statement. But what I get at is, I understand there has to be a rule. There has to be standards. If you don't make the standards, then everything can get skewed around and everybody can do what they want. So you have to police these standards. Now, I understand if they're broken, whether by accident or whether by unpurposed wrongdoing, there has to be a punishment with it. And whether as tiny as something about the ball being 0.5 pounds under the, standard rate that is needed in the balls, or whether, you wear the wrong colored shoes on the field, it's all stuff that's really stupid, but if you let it go, it leads to other things.
Yep.
Well, my opinion on what Goodell is doing is I'm going to go with the Fox News approach. I think he's doing this as a way to support ISIS and Al-Qaeda.
I think that he's just doing his job. And I don't think he should be in charge of the appeal process. I don't think that 4 games is necessarily... I think 4 games is good, being that Tom Brady didn't reveal anything, didn't give up any information to help this investigation. Because if he would have to say, hey, here's these text messages, here's these emails, if there's nothing on them, then there would not be a case, and he would not be suspended. But he's not.
Chewbacca was a Wookiee.
But he would not be suspended. There wouldn't be a case if there was nothing to hide. He's hiding it. Therefore, he has to get some kind of punishment. And 4 games, I feel, is fair.
Again, I don't cooperate because fuck the police.
Yeah, Goodell's doing his job, just like Stalin did his job.
And like
Italy.
And much like
suspend everybody, kill everything.
And much like Jay said a minute ago, where he had to react. I mean, you look at how much bad press he got from the Ray Rice thing, where he didn't react right away, and he didn't jump the gun and suspend him and knock him out and all this. Knock him out. That was a bad word to use in that statement.
No, that was appropriate.
Pow! Pow! Right in the kiss. Okay.
Are you saying pow?
Pow.
No, my name is Pam. Are you saying Pan?
But the difference between these 2 instances, though, Jesse, is that Ray Rice was on fucking video.
Right.
They don't have Tom Brady with a goddamn needle sitting there on video going, I'll get these fuckers.
No, they don't. And that's the issue. I think that he had to jump quick because he's got that negative press and he has to save face now. And any action he does, probably for the next 2 to 3 years, he's got to act quick and save his face.
His face is in danger.
His face is quite in danger. And I think that he had to act quick and suspend him before maybe all the evidence was presented. And now that it is, that's what the appeal process is for. Maybe he'll go down to 2 games.
I'm just waiting for the day where James Harrison goes all Rambo and takes out Goodell.
Well, no, because James Harrison won't have enough money to buy ammunition to do so, because Goodell will have all his money by the time he retires.
He didn't get fined last year.
That's why he's going to go Rambo.
Well, Rambo used like 50 cows and stuff.
And
yeah, but he also,
sticks.
at one point in time, used a fucking knife. And I could see Harrison doing some damage.
All right, we're talking about the murder of Goodell. Let's not talk about that.
Why would we not talk about the murder of Roger Goodell? The people want to know.
Cleveland is up by 1 with 7.5 left in the first. 7-6.
Really? You feel like that was an update-worthy moment?
Hey, it was the first time I've gotten to talk since you fuckers have been blathermouthing.
Well,
All
that's
right,
because you have no logical points.
Well, I mean, American Enterprises anyway has presented this, and is it going to make a difference? It might make a difference in the appeal process. Does it matter? Not to me, because Brady should be suspended for holding information away from Goodell, and that's the bottom line. Whether
on top of that,
as long as it's one damn game, that's all I want. Just one. He can be suspended for one fucking game, and I'll be happy. As long as he doesn't fucking play the Steelers without Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, suspend him the first half of the Steelers game and let him come back in and lead a fourth quarter comeback. No, that report will make no difference because It's Roger Goodell, and he flies in the face of any logical points, and he is constantly on like a big, weird gay witch hunt or something. I don't know. He might reduce the suspension to 2 games, but I wouldn't be surprised if Brady stays at 4.
He is the Joseph Stalin of NFL commissioners.
He is.
I love how we keep, comparing him to Joseph Stalin.
We keep 20th century dictators prevalent and modern in this world.
We really do. In this podcast, all dictators are relevant. All right, well, moving on to the next story. Dallas's star free agent pickup, La'el Collins, just got blasted on Twitter. And Jay, since you brought this article to our attention, I will have you explain the article.
Okay, so turns out La'el Collins just cannot keep himself out of the public eye for all the wrong reasons. It is reported that recently he contacted an escort who goes by, this was her Twitter handle and her current Instagram handle, goes by the name of Throatzilla. So you can imagine what kind of thing she's into. And she's one of those broads, apparently, that no matter, you could just pay her any amount and she'll do the freakiest shit you can imagine, because Mr. Collins received oral sex from her, and then apparently she went backdoor on his ass big time.
Literally, backdoor on his ass.
She did the theoretical toss of the salad, theoretical and literal. And the only reason this has come to anybody's attention, I'm sure he would have gotten away with it if he had just paid the broad. There is nothing worse in this world that I can imagine that is more pissed off than a hooker that you don't pay. Apparently Collins offered to take her out to dinner in lieu of paying her the predetermined amount. And when she refused, he said he would pay her the next Thursday. And when the payment never came, she took to Twitter to blast him.
See, I don't know why he wanted to take her to dinner. I mean, she already had her salad. She probably had a little hors d'oeuvres.
It would have been cheaper than him paying for it, because she already had her appetizer. She'd already had her appetizer. Well, she had to get that shitty taste out of her mouth, is why I imagine.
But she was probably already full.
I'm saying, she and La'el Collins is not a small boy, so she was getting like a corn-fed protein diet from his ass, literally.
He really fucked her on that deal.
I just don't understand. You just got out, basically, once the Cowboys signed you, everybody forgot about the ex-girlfriend being murdered and that whole story. So you follow that up by going and getting a blowjob and a rim job from a hooker. And instead of thinking maybe, she could tell somebody about this. This is something I don't want getting out into the media. You don't pay her. You don't even take her out to dinner. No. And then she goes and blasts you, and now I just want to be inside that locker room when training camp opens up in August, just to hear some of the things he's going to have to do.
I do too, because
I hope the Dallas Cowboys sign Richie Incognito.
No, what would be better is if they signed Michael Sam. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Oh, God, don't. No.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nope, too far. Too far.
Ding! He'd be walking up to and giving him pointer.
Nope, too far. Nope.
I did. No, that's not too far, because I said not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. For the record, we all know.
They already had signed Michael Sam. That was the thing. Well, he's a year late.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, they're just picking up people that like having their ass ate, apparently. That's Jerry Joseph's criteria. And Jesse just spit whole out of his nose.
You need to either be a criminal or get your ass ate if you want to play for Dallas.
Or both.
That's really America's team right there.
They're into signing assholes and eating assholes.
You were on it.
You auto-tuned that whole sentence. It was so great.
Eating asshole.
Leave that shit in there. Leave that shit in there.
Eating assholes. Oh my God, that was too good. Yeah, so, honestly, I don't understand why you don't pay the lady. If I made somebody lick my ass, I'm sorry. I know what comes out of there. I know the sense in that general area. I'm going to feel really, really bad. I'm going to feel like I have to pay.
I mean, Kevin's done it for free all these years, so it must not be that bad.
That's true.
I've never had this discussion with anybody. What if the hooker sucked? What if she's a terrible hooker?
I don't know.
I'll have to pay?
On a scale of 1 to 10, she was about a 2 in the hookers.
Say you get a hooker and like she's like a dead fish. Why would you pay that hooker?
I mean, you get a discount, I would think.
You could haggle.
You could haggle.
You could dick her.
Yeah, you could dick her over real bad.
Yeah.
Be like, listen, I'm only going to give you halves on this blowjob because you suck.
Let's face it, you use too much teeth.
Now, if you just type in Throatzilla on Instagram and you go look at her shit, I think what we need to do is, as a reliable, scientific, and factual program, after this show is over, I'm going to set up a GoFundMe fundraiser so we can send one of us four to Dallas or wherever she's at right now, so we can see whether she lives up to the hype or not. And I
do an Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to set up a GoFundMe, and we're going to send Homer to meet.
We can Kickstarter it.
She's real. Yeah, Kickstarter a fund so Homer can go see, and he's going to interview her while she's doing it. So, what does his butt taste like?
Homer meets Throatzilla. Homer versus Throatzilla. And, yeah, it'll be pretty great. We'll do a whole preview show.
Homer.
Oh God! I just realized this chick. You know what's going to happen? There's going to be some guy in the porn industry who's going to capitalize on this shit.
Oh, you are so right.
You know how many Godzilla movies there are? There are going to be that many Throatzilla movies now.
There are going to be a lot of Throatzilla movies. You're right.
There's going to be porn stars walking out in like green paint and scales now.
Oh. It's knocking over buildings with their cogs.
Ron Jeremy saw this on the internet and went, son of a bitch.
Damn it, why did I
retirement? But no, I will set up a GoFundMe so Homer can go meet this woman and interview her mid-blowjob.
And he has to get his salad tossed as well.
Oh, God.
Or the experience is not good unless you get exactly what Colin's got.
Yeah, we got to keep this scientific.
It's got to be a controlled environment.
We'll even give him the money to pay
there has to be a control.
For dinner.
Yeah, there has to be a control. So should we get a different hooker to hook up with him first?
No, we're not science.
All right, listen. We're going to have a debate about this and come to a logical conclusion. But needless to say, we need to locate Throatzilla. Well, and besides the Collins and American Enterprise Institute findings on the Wells report, not a whole lot else has happened in the NFL. Training camps have come and gone. Mini camps have come and gone. Training camps will be coming soon.
Mid-July.
A few people out of OTAs. Des Bryant, big name one that is out of the OTAs right now.
Justin Houston.
The other one was Evan Mathis being let go by the Eagles.
Jason Pierre-Paul is also holding out.
So, I mean, there's a few news here and there, but it's all developing. We all got to wait and see what's going to happen. And find out, are they going to come back? I mean, honestly, I think Des Bryant has threatened to sit out for the season opener, and Jason Garrett says, okay. Go for it, bro. We're not going to be able to give you a new contract. So, I think that he'll be back. He'll be fine. They're going to work it out. You don't let a star receiver like that go unless his name's T.O. or Randy Moss.
Or Mike Wallace.
Oh yeah, he's a star.
Well, you all thought he was.
No, we've already discussed this.
Kevin thought he was junk from day one. I liked him for the first season. Then I started to agree with Kevin that Antonio Brown was better. And now I bow down to Kevin because he was right from the very beginning that Antonio Brown was great. And he even said Emmanuel Sanders was good. And I hated Emmanuel Sanders because he was horrible with the Steelers. But all of a sudden he's great with Peyton Manning. So,
Well, it's when you have a quarterback that doesn't touch
what
it
it was
inappropriately.
Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders was supposed to be starting over Antonio Brown when they let Mike Wallace go.
right. And then Emmanuel Sanders
everybody was
got
all on
pissed.
Emmanuel Sanders about how he was so great. And I'm like, dude, Antonio Brown's way better. And then, lo and behold, Antonio Brown is way better.
Way better. And he's used it completely differently over there than he was here.
Okay, moving on.
But now we're going to go into basketball and junk with our one and only Jace Junk.
Alrighty, we are actually, as we speak, we are right in the middle of the first quarter of Game 6 at Quicken Loans Arena. The Warriors leading 3-2 in the series. Can LeBron bring them back? I would like to start off with a little bit of a debate. LeBron came out after Game 5, and I believe a reporter had said something to the effect of, do you feel any pressure to perform? Do you this and that and the other? Shut up. Well, do you feel like, the game is on your shoulders? Do you feel any pressure? And LeBron came out and said, well, I do feel a little bit pressure, but I don't think it matters because I am the best player in the world right now. Agree or disagree?
Mic
Jesse?
drop.
Absolutely agree. There's no one in the league right now that is better than LeBron James. You can make a case for Kevin Durant. You can make a case for... There's not a whole lot of other people you can make a case for. LeBron James is the best in
the guy who's playing point guard for the other team in the
Completely
finals.
different position, completely different skill set. He can shoot,
matter.
he can pass.
Doesn't matter.
He's not
doesn't matter.
an all-around player like LeBron.
Can he still have the same impact on a game that LeBron does? Can he take over a game?
Is Stephen Curry going to have a triple-double with 15 rebounds, 14 assists, and 40 points? No.
No, but is he going to score
He ain't gonna
like LeBron does?
Okay, that's great and dandy.
Did you see what he did to Dellavedova last game?
Yes.
Did you see what he did to him?
Dellavedova. Say it right
I
there.
don't care.
You know how much...
How's that?
He is not an all-star. If Kyrie Irving was 100%, he probably wouldn't have these kind of games. Dellavedova had two fantastic games.
Into that. I want to get into that later on.
Steph Curry would be playing at the level he's playing at right now, even if Kyrie was guarding him, because just like LeBron James said when they asked him,
he's right.
How do you guard Steph Curry? He said, just like you guard me, you don't.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, I'm sorry.
James is the best in the league right now, and the reason he's better than Steph Curry is because LeBron James can play positions 1 through 5. He has the skill set to play every position on the court and be one of the best at that position.
The only way he's playing the 5 is if the Warriors are using their small lineup, which they have been doing, and I want to touch on that a little bit. But Homer, do you have any thoughts on this?
Nope. I'm not even paying attention right now.
Now, I have to ask, on the whole Kyrie and Kevin Love thing.
Speaking of on the whole, can you believe she ate his ass?
Exactly. Well,
she was supposed to killed him.
She was supposed to be paid handsomely for that, but I guess she didn't. Anyhow, do we think this series is even close if the Cavaliers have a healthy Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving?
No. I think Cavs would have won it in 5.
No, I think it still would have been close.
Kyrie Irving would have made a bigger impact than Love.
Amazing.
But Love being in there would have caused LeBron to be able to focus more on his shooting and do a higher percentage of shot, or a higher shooting percentage as opposed to a higher percentage of shots. He would be able to make more smarter decisions with his shots. Right now, he's pretty much their shooter. If the ball isn't going to him, it really isn't going to anybody else.
I saw a stat, I believe, with LeBron on the floor, the Cavs are plus 18, and when he's off the floor, they're minus 40-something. He is shooting, with him on the floor, they're shooting upwards of 50% if he assists on a play or is on the floor, they are shooting somewhere in the area of 50%. If he does not assist on a play or is not on the floor, they're shooting like closer to like 32.
Right.
And actually, I didn't get to make my point. I do agree with you, Jesse. I think there could be an argument made for Curry on the last point. But I think LeBron is the greatest in the world right now because if you look at what he's doing, he is doing the equivalent if you take the Quad A state champion, their best player, and make him play junior varsity next year. He is playing with nobody.
Yeah,
he is doing everything he can to beat this team, and he's playing with 4 nobodies. I mean, Delly's getting, oh my God.
He's getting pressed right now, but he's
been getting destroyed, but you know, you're playing against the league MVP as Steph just missed a 3-ball terribly. By the way, Cavs, Golden State's up 27-15 with under a minute in first. But you see, and Golden State's not shooting well. Iguodala is the only person that's really shooting worth a damn at the moment. But back to my point, just what LeBron's been doing with the lineup that he has reminds me the last time I saw a champion do something with so little was the last time Kobe won an NBA Finals when he had something like Trevor Ariza, Luke Walton, fucking Andrew Bynum, like guys like that, who were just absolute nobodies. And LeBron's just willing this team on.
He literally has put this entire team on his back. And if they lose, it is not going to be his fault.
I don't see Steph getting, and here's another thing I want to open up, but I'll start this off. I think the finals MVP either has to go to LeBron or Andre Iguodala, and I will tell you why. Because you look at what LeBron's done, there's no doubt. If he finishes strong this game, I believe he's the first player in NBA history to finish a finals where he's averaging over 35 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists, which you're talking about Magic, you're talking about Jordan. Nobody's ever done it. But you have to look at when Iguodala took over guarding LeBron as opposed to them switching off between Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green, whoever they had on the floor, basically. And LeBron was just tearing them apart. And when Steve Kerr decided to take the advice of his video analyst and start Andre Iguodala over Andrew Bogut and go small, you look at what this team's done with Iguodala on the floor as opposed to when he's been off the floor, and what LeBron has been able to do when guarded by Iguodala versus not. Because like Kevin brought up earlier, you're not gonna stop LeBron. There's just no way in hell right now. You can only slow him down. And I'm trying to remember the stat. I had them all written down, but I left my notebook in my toolbox at school. I think
you are a toolbox.
You need toolboxes when you can't figure out how to turn the wheel to the right. But anyhow, you look at it's all in the stats. The percentage of shots, the percentage of shots that LeBron's making with Green or anybody else guarding him versus what Iguodala's been able to do to him. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still scoring, 30, 40 points a game, but he's just jacking up 30, 40 shots.
Right.
Why? Because he doesn't have anybody else to shoot the ball.
Right.
J.R. Smith would chuck it up from half court if you'd let you. Iman Shumpert's streaky. Dellavedova is just not good.
No. He got lucky 2 games shutting Curry down.
Who is your finals MVP right now?
It's got to be LeBron. Win or lose, it's got to be because he has had the most historical finals ever. There's articles all over the place saying everybody hates LeBron, but just realize that LeBron is literally making history with his performances. Now, if he had any speck of a team around him, this would be no contest. But he doesn't, and he has willed them this far on his own shoulders. Now, if they are somehow going to manage to win the next 2 games and leave with the NBA Finals, it's going to be because of LeBron. It's not going to be because of Deladova. It's not going to be because of Musgrove. Not going to be JR. It's going to be LeBron. And
something I would like to bring up with this whole small ball attitude. You look at what Mozgov did in Game 4. He scored 28 points. I think he had a double-double. But the only problem is you leave him in, and it presents a matchup problem for Golden State at the offensive end. But when you put him against Draymond Green, Green's just too quick, or whoever they happen to have playing the 5. Although I don't agree with David Blatt benching him and in favor of leaving in Tristan Thompson is more of a power forward, but he's played spectacularly at the 5 spot. But I think Blatt's best chance tonight is if he lets Mozgov play significant minutes and try and beat this small ball lineup that they've been playing, because as we've seen, Golden State can get streaky in a hurry.
Right.
And they'll either hit a shitload of shots or they won't.
Yeah, you got to shut it down.
Sorry to interrupt, but Kevin.
Down.
Yeah. Kevin, who's your final MVP?
If the Cavs win, I'd have to go with LeBron being the Finals MVP because obvious reasons. There's nobody else who could even.
Who the hell else would you pick?
They don't even have anybody that's an
James
all-star on
Jones.
that team. But if the
Mike
Cavs
Miller's
lose,
the Finals MVP.
if the Cavs lose, it's not on LeBron. I will still, however, take this opportunity to make fun of every Cavs fan out there for the fact that they still haven't won a championship in Cleveland.
All right, well,
the game isn't over, so we don't know that for sure. I still think the Cavs can come back and do it in 7. Is it probable? No. Is it possible? Yes.
Well, they are playing at home tonight, although they're just basically feeding the LeBron and running ISOs, and he just got blocked by Festus Ezeli. Yeah. And then Mozgov turned the ball over. So they're going to have to mix it up on offense and try and at least go to somebody else, because if they just keep feeding LeBron, he's going to get quadruple teamed in the paint and it's not going to matter.
Right.
James Jones with a contested corner 3 at the buzzer. Or no, that was LeBron. Never mind. All right, well, that wraps up my segment, and I will continue to update the score, but it is currently 31-21 with 10:50 left in the second.
All right. That leads us into go puck yourself.
Ding.
You got no fucking clue what you're doing.
Ding. Ding. Yeah, you're a fucking prick.
As most of you know, Chicago Blackhawks have won their 3rd Stanley Cup in the last 6 years. They said, you are now a dynasty. My question is, has anybody even thought that they weren't a dynasty prior to this? And my second question is there ever going to be an East team that's good enough to beat one of these, good enough to beat the Kings or the Blackhawks? Because those have been the winners of the Cups 5 out of the last 6 times. So, Jace, let's start off with you. Was there any question that the Chicago Blackhawks were already a dynasty? Or just add a little more to it?
Unless you're, a little fucking slow or you live under a rock, I think you should know by now that they're one of the great North American sports dynasties. I mean, 3 championships in 6 years. And, you throw in the Kings winning last year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And, you just look at, they've constantly, even if they haven't won the championship, they've been either in the Western Conference Finals or at least been in contention.
Yeah, they've never made it to a final that they haven't won. And exactly. Every final they've made it to, they've won it 4-2. And
exactly.
If they didn't make it to the final, I believe they were all in the semifinals. So, right. And the only team that's been able to beat them has been the Kings.
Yep.
So,
and you look at, you've got a team full of players that you could build a franchise around. I mean, Corey Crawford, outstanding.
Underrated a lot of times.
Underrated, yeah. He did get a little bit lucky that attempt that Stamkos had that was absolutely filthy that he just barely touched that went off the post. I was shell-shocked when that didn't go in. That was just unlucky.
He just didn't get, an inch more air time on that puck would have been...
It goes in. You look at Corey Crawford, you could build, a team around him. Duncan Keith, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves.
Patrick Sharp, Marion Hossa.
Exactly.
That team has the best depth of any team. And there's not just one guy you look at. You don't think, you think of the Penguins, you think, Sidney Crosby and the team. You have Sidney Crosby, Malkin, and Fleury, and that's it. Maybe Letang. You throw Letang in there.
Whatever, he's not fucking hurt.
Yeah. But there's no all-star third lineman. There's no, there's not those people that other teams would probably start in their first or second line that are playing second or third line for the friggin' Blackhawks because they're so defensive minded and like Patrick Sharp and Marion Hossa. Their defense is just as good as their offense. And that team is built around defense first, which is how you win championships.
Exactly. Well, and hats off to the youngest team in the NHL taking on a true American sports dynasty in the Chicago Blackhawks and taking them to 6 games in the Tampa Bay Lightning. When you look at, they're another team that has some decent star power, but at the same time, just overmatched. And I didn't read anything specific, but just by going by what I was watching last night, Bishop looked like he was in pain and he was not 100% last night. I can't confirm or deny that, but that's just what it looked like to me.
Also, you got to think that team had no experience in the finals, and with Chicago, it was a ridiculous number of the people on their roster have been on the other 2 winning Stanley Cup teams. So every one of the stars that we can name off the top of our heads was on both those teams. So they had a lot of experience there, and it just looked like out of the gate, Tampa Bay was on their heels just trying to contain the Blackhawks rush. And so how do you feel about this? I mean, it's a true dynasty. Is there any question on that, Homer?
No question. Definitely.
Kevin, what do you like? Is there any question on that being a dynasty, or what do you see in the future for them?
Solid points by Homer as always.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I actually saw that Taves has now 3 Stanley Cup Finals wins, 2 Conn Smythe Awards, and 2 Olympic gold medals.
Right.
That's ridiculous.
Right. And if he wouldn't have made
of their team,
and if he wouldn't have made the Cup Finals, he would have probably joined Sidney Crosby in being triple gold winner by winning the World Championships.
Exactly.
That's just one player on that team.
Right.
And he's not even, he's one of the best, but they have a group of the best players in the league.
Yeah, it's really, really nuts how deep that team is.
The Kings and the Blackhawks are right now, like you guys talked about, 2 best teams as far as, one's going to be the best one year, one's going to be the best the next year. The Rangers had a really good run this year, just couldn't get to the finals. Maybe it'd have been a better matchup. Maybe they just ran out of steam.
Playing from behind too much wore you down.
The Penguins, if they could be consistent for more than 5 seconds, might have a shot at contending with one of these teams, but that's their problem. They can't consistently be one of the best teams in the league.
Well, I honestly think the team to watch out for now that they have proven what they can do, and because they are so young, is the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I think
and that leads me to my next point. Is there an Eastern Conference team now that you think can actually compete with this powerhouses in the West? Do you think Tampa Bay is going to be that team? Because you always see the Bruins, Rangers, now Tampa Bay. They always seem to look so good until they get to the finals and they fall on their face.
Exactly.
So, do you think that Tampa Bay is actually going to push the East into the Cup for the first time since the Bruins, 4 or 5 years ago?
I think Tampa Bay is just going to carry their own asses there, but I could see sort of a situation like the good old Buffalo Bills of the early 90s. Because they're young enough that they can keep going back, but the only problem is it's the same thing with like the NBA. The Western Conference is just so much better and so much deeper than the East.
Right.
And you come through the Eastern Conference Finals and you bulldoze teams like the Rangers and you do this, that, and the other, and then you get out and you go play the big boys in the West, and you get destroyed.
Shit on.
Right.
Exactly. But I think that you're going to see, this isn't the last we've seen on the Lightning.
No. Too young.
I see them.
Too talented.
I see them coming back for the next 3 to 4 years. Stamkos is one of the great centers in the game right now, and it doesn't matter if you're playing the Kings or you're playing the Blackhawks, whoever comes out of the West. I think for the next couple of years, you're going to see the Tampa Bay Lightning running the Eastern Conference.
Kevin, what do you think?
Well, I can see the Tampa Bay Lightning being a consistently good team. I think it's gonna, the Blackhawks, I think, will pretty much be the rulers of the West, because the Kings got there, but I think the Blackhawks are just that little bit better.
And we can't forget about the Ducks. The Ducks have been close every
the Mighty
year.
Ducks.
Yeah.
And the Ducks seem to add talent more and keep pushing to get there. And I honestly thought this was the year for the Ducks, but I've said that the last 3 seasons. Oh, the Ducks are going to make it this year, and then they don't. So
They didn't run the flying V.
Charlie Conway needed to be on the bench.
And they didn't have Goldberg in net.
Yeah. That and Bill
But I
Nye
also,
wasn't playing center for them.
The Penguins have the pieces at the top with their
They don't have the depth.
Malkin, their Crosby, their Letang. And Fleury, being Fleury. What they need and what they're missing these last few seasons is those little pieces they had that got them that Stanley Cup.
Yeah, the Maxime
The Rob
Talbot,
Scuderi saving with no stick, saving a goal type player that can get them there. The guys that you don't hear about in the regular season, but show up in the postseason and make those big plays.
I honestly think the entire reason the Penguins get whooped in the playoffs is because no Pascal Dupuis.
Well, the thing is now
that's
Pascal
a big
Dupuis is
factor.
old. Kunitz is old. That team that was good 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whenever they won with those guys, they were actually decently young then, and they were nobodies before they came to the Penguins, and they became superstars. And then all of a sudden, they're old, they're slow, they get injured, they just aren't there anymore. And the Penguins need an entire revamp of both wing positions. Perrin might be something. Hornquist I thought was a great pickup. But Neil had one good season and then shit for the rest of the time. And I don't know how he did with last year, but it's just they don't have a superstar wing. They don't have that awesome third line center like they had in Jordan Staal. Sutter
Because
is
you
there.
bought his jersey.
I did buy his jersey.
You
that's the
cursed
problem.
the team.
I did.
No, I think Sutter was a good pickup, and he's sort of the gritty player that you need on the
he's got
second,
no one with
third
him.
wings. Yeah,
I miss
exactly.
Matt Cook. I miss Maxine Talbot. I miss young Craig Adams. I guess
Bullshit.
that's the term.
Mr. Take a slap shot and miss by 8 feet to the right of the net.
Young Craig Adams. Young.
Something else to consider. I don't think they should have gotten rid of Bilesma.
I don't think so either.
No, you can't get rid of Coach Disco.
Yeah, I think that it seems like they didn't do. They thought, oh, we're gonna be so strategically better and more disciplined, blah 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 blah. It wasn't the case. I mean, injuries hurt them, and that leads me into my next point. Do you think that Tampa Bay would have stood a better chance if Bishop was not as obviously hampered by some sort of injury than he was? If he was 100%, do you feel, much like their case with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, do you think if Bishop was 100%, Tampa Bay could have won that?
Yeah, does anybody know the official, if there was an actual listed injury or anything?
I read last night on the Lightning subreddit that he had a groin tear.
Yeah, and that is not something you want when you have to move laterally constantly.
Yeah, move laterally and go down to, basically down to your knees and get back up.
Yeah, you're not going to do that easy.
I mean, one of the best playoff performances, throughout the playoffs that I can remember. I mean, going into Madison Square Garden against Lundqvist and pitching 2 shutouts.
Right.
So the kid's got balls. You got to give him credit, and I think they'll be back in the next couple of years. But I don't think Bishop being healthy really helps. Like I said, this the Blackhawks are just so loaded. It's like when you create a franchise in NHL on your Xbox. You just load your team up with like the best players you can dream up, and that's basically what the Blackhawks are. They're an unfair like cheat code of an actual team.
What do you think, Kevin?
Have any of you guys ever actually had a groin tear?
No.
I had a hernia. That was about it, though.
With a groin tear, yeah, it is extremely painful. It does hamper your movement at all times because it doesn't matter where you're moving, it hurts.
Right.
But I still can't say that they would have gone on to beat the Blackhawks. Just I think there are too many pieces on that Blackhawks team to be able to overcome right now. Somebody's got to come in with either that much star power or that many key role players that aren't stars yet but are going to get paid big money in the offseason because of great plays in the finals.
Right. What do you think, Homer?
I don't think they would have been close with them. I mean, it would have been closer, but
May have gone to Game 7 kind of feel?
maybe. I think they still need another year or two before they're actually there.
Well, look at the Penguins, and they won. They went the 1 year, no experience, brought it to what, Game 6, lost, and then the next year they won it.
That and they had Marian Hossa on their team, and that's obviously...
Well, it was so great because Marian Hossa was to 3 straight Stanley Cup finals, and the third one was the only one he won, and each of them were different with a different team. It was just hilarious.
Yep.
But now he's won 3, so you can't really yell at him.
I just remember being pissed when we get beat by the Red Wings in the finals, and he goes and signs with the Red Wings in the very next year. It was fucking fantastic.
It was pretty great. All
So,
right, so
Bill Nye is an ass, and so is Marian Hossa, apparently.
right.
Yep.
All right, Kevin. That's done with my go puck yourself talk.
Ding.
Fucking moron.
Ding.
We will lead that into the K-Rob Race Report.
All right. As far as the K-Rob Race Report goes, I was actually in attendance at Pocono Raceway to see the Exalta 400. I was live sitting in the infield watching the racing action, which you can't see too much of it at Pocono, but what I did see was that Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. were pretty much just kicking everybody's ass the entire race. And the only person who had a chance at even touching those two would have been Dale Earnhardt Jr., but he got shuffled back due to circumstances, started further back than they did. But it was, all in all, a decent race. Martin Truex Jr. finally picked up the win for the first time in 2 years.
With Furniture Row Racing.
I know.
With Furniture Row Motorsports.
With nobody as his sponsor, pretty much.
Denver Mattress. Don't be sleeping on that Denver Mattress.
Well, that's true. But you look at the guys who have driven for Furniture Row Racing and haven't done a damn thing, and then Truex steps into that ride and goes out and picks up the win, and isn't he second in points right now?
Yep.
Yeah, he's second in points. He has 14 straight top 10 finishes. Tied Richard Petty's record.
Truly talented. Pretty much pulling a LeBron and having to put the entire team on his back. The car, literally, he's strapping the car to his back.
He's
and running laps.
Flintstoning the car at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
He's doing
a lot of cocaine.
Also, probably the best place for him to pick up a win too, because he's actually from New Jersey, and Poconos is right there next to New Jersey, so it was pretty much a home track win for him.
Nice.
Practically smell Jersey
up the
from there.
second place finish too. So Kevin Harvick was the points leader, still is the points leader, and put on another good race. They moved on then. Last week was the race at Michigan, a rain-shortened race that Kurt Busch picked up the win. And Kevin Harvick, as is the norm so far this season, had one of the dominant cars all race long until they had a loose lug nut take out the valve stem after a pit stop, and he got a flat tire, which put him back in 29th, 2 laps down, which still keeps him in the points lead.
Yep.
Homer, you actually watched this race. I did not get a chance to. What did you see that I didn't see?
A lot of
rain. seemed like I don't mean to interrupt Homer, but it seemed like every 10 minutes they'd get the track dried off. And they'd be like, okay, we're ready to go. And they'd get the cars uncovered and get like 20 laps and then be like, well, here comes rain again. We're going to park everybody back on pit road.
It's pretty much what I saw too.
Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Well, at least no one hit the drying car.
Yeah.
It's because he's not there anymore.
Well, yeah, Juan Pablo doesn't race for Penske anymore. Or Chip Ganassi, sorry about that.
Yeah.
But Kyle Busch was running a pretty good race from what I saw until his car got extremely loose and he turned right going down the front stretch, and that's not what you want to do.
Nope.
You know
Something you're an expert on.
That's kind of the one story to watch right now is he's trying to make it into the. Not only does he have to get a win, but he has to be in the top 30 in points by the end of the season. If he does so, he can be in the chase.
I don't see it happening.
Right now, he did have a good race at Pocono, but he definitely fucked that race car up on Sunday at Michigan and did not have a very good finish at all.
Top 30 in points?
Yep.
Top 30. As long as he makes the top 30. They added that in because of his circumstances of having the broken leg and missing, the first 11 races, was it, Homer?
I think so. 10 or 11.
So it's special circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the one other thing for Pocono that I was seeing, Danica Patrick actually had a really strong race there going until it looked to me that either Casey Kane got to the back bumper of her car or was close enough to take the air off the spoiler, which caused her to get into the wall and flatten her tire, and then she spun in the next corner and messed the back end of the car up, which pretty much ended her chances. But she was running in the top 10, putting on a really strong show, and just unfortunate circumstances derailed that run.
All right.
Often.
I do have one thing that we could go ahead and debate on. With NASCAR here, they have this chase format that at the end of the season, any driver who's either in the top 16 in points or anybody who has a win, or any driver who is in the top 16 in points that would fill out those positions, run for the championship. Do you guys agree with that system?
So every year it seems like it's getting bigger and bigger with the chase, and it's kind of negating the chase itself. I remember when it was just the top 10, or you had to be within so many points, and that was it. So you got 12 if you were lucky. I don't understand why. I think it's just a lot of people complain, and then they get to the point where you get to the chase and they're out of it, so they don't give a crap anymore. Mm-hmm. And I can understand that. If they're going to continue it, make it, half the pack and cut the races down in half. And those people don't get to race. And redo tracks. That way everybody gets to race at every track, and then pick 5 tracks at the end of the season. Those 5 tracks will be the chase. And pick, 16 people. And have that 16 people race. That way you don't have the 35 through 42 that are just out there doing slow laps to get their sponsor money.
There's a lot of people out there that have fully sponsored rides that would possibly miss it. They would be extremely pissed about their car not being in the race.
Right.
If they weren't in the chase.
Because every time your car's not out there, you're not getting screen time, you're losing money.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're paying a lot of money to be on the hood of those cars.
Kyle Larson looks like he might not make it, and that is a highly funded race team.
Yep.
And Chip Ganassi would definitely not be happy about that.
And that's the thing that's so, I don't want to say shitty about NASCAR, but it's all sponsor. There's no sponsors for NFL teams. There's no sponsors for NHL teams in that sense, as large. There's teams that can sponsor to put their pictures on the wall of the hockey rink, but that's it. They don't travel with the teams and put their emblems all over their jerseys. Now they do that in international hockey. And they do that in soccer. And they do that in NASCAR.
Most international sports.
Pretty much every international sport.
And Brock Lesnar does it on the WWE.
Dude.
And Michael Bay does it in every one of his movies.
No. You can't, Kevin, you can't say his name unless you say my client, Brock Lesnar.
Now, I like the idea.
You look the most like a walrus.
I like the idea of the chase, and it seemed to work early on, and now it seems flawed. I understand they wanted to add more drama to it, but it seems like it's cutting more people out. And I feel like it might be just a flawed system, and I really just don't know where to fix it, or do you just drop it? I don't know.
The only point where it causes any more excitement to the whole racing season is the last race.
Yep.
If somebody's trying to get in.
Yeah, if somebody's trying to get into the chase. Then after that, it's like, oh, okay, back to normal.
It was like last year, they raced at Phoenix for the last race before you start the chase, and Ryan Newman needed one position to get into the chase, and pile drove Kyle Larson going into 3 and 4 and knocked him the fuck out of the way so he'd get that position and take that spot in the chase.
Right.
Well, I think the championship from last year, the race coming down to the final race, who was it, Johnson or Harvick won the championship?
Harvick.
Well, no, I'm saying who were the two in contention?
There was 4. There was Harvick,
there were 4.
Newman, Logano, and Hamlin.
Yeah. And you get down to that last race, whereas anybody could have won it. I think, but you could have gotten that with the old system, with going back to the Winston Cup. So I think the only thing the chase really adds is, like Jesse was saying, who's going to get in? And then after that, they're like, okay, we're going to have X amount of more races before we get to the end, and we're going to worry about it.
Yeah, it would be like, say, the NFL had the conference championships week 1 and then played 16 games after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then had the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I feel like the chase was like NASCAR's version of the playoffs.
That's what they were hoping
Playoffs?
But it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way when you have 42 people in every race, and you have the amount of sponsorships, and you have
43.
Is it 43? I thought it was 42.
Yeah,
right,
43.
My bad. 43
Well, no,
people.
Trevor Bayne races, so it's pretty much 42.
That's what I mean. Then you have those back 10 that go out there, do 10 laps, and then pull into the pit road and be done.
Well, the unfortunate part is Trevor Bayne is one of the fully sponsored cars, and he's just that bad.
Yeah.
It's not him, it's Roush.
And that's what I don't get.
I was at Pocono. It's him. Josh Wise and all of BK Racing were killing him all race long.
That's one thing I don't get is, honestly, there's probably 20 racers that matter. And,
25, 30 maybe.
Yeah, 25 we'll say. 25 racers that matter, that are in it every week, that you could see winning, that do win races every year.
Yeah.
And they still manage to put 43 people on, and the reason they do that is for the drama of accidents.
Yep.
Because that's what people tune in to watch. The casual fan tunes in to watch the wrecks.
Yep.
And how sick these wrecks are.
The big one.
Yeah. And that's why they leave these bottom 10 people that don't even finish the race in. I don't know.
Oh, basically the whole thing with me right now is NASCAR is starting to get to the point that the NFL is starting to get to. They're making all these rules, changing all these things. You're changing my football, stop changing my football. They're changing my NASCAR. They got these cars so aerodynamically sensitive that you can't even pass at half the races, and it's affecting the product. And the races are to some points unwatchable
because they're so fucking boring.
Yeah.
I mean,
isn't it like they've got them so aerodynamically tweaked that something I was reading the other day that tire wear drastically changes from track to track with the tweaks that they're putting on these cars, and you got people that they're either going, a huge amount of time out of the race and on the same set of tires, and then you go to certain tracks and you're blowing them left and right. So it's a very product.
That's not just the cars, though. When it comes to the tires, Goodyear actually does tire tests at various tracks throughout the year to try and figure out the best compound to take to a track. And they only usually do that with about 5 or 6 drivers. When you have 43 drivers putting rubber down onto the racetrack, that makes it a completely different surface and adjusts what the tire wear can come out to be. So, I mean, that's not really an issue there. What's the problem is when you get a run on somebody and get up to their back bumper and you get
You
the air
can't
off
pass.
of that car that affects your nose and makes your car push up the racetrack and slows you down. That's the problem they have now at some of these racetracks, is they're so aerodynamically sensitive that you can't pass because of the air.
There's no more
One
slingshot.
thing, my dad's been saying for like 10 years, they need to just take all these spoilers off of these cars, put a squared front end on them instead of these aerodynamic front ends on them, and make them looser than hell, and make you have to go out and actually drive the car.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would love
Back
that.
like it used to be, and that would make it exciting again, where you're having side-by-side finishes at most of the races.
Yeah, you're getting, these newer cars are getting easier and easier to drive. That's why you have people like Danica Patrick who can do it.
No, a lot of people put Danica Patrick down. I actually watched her race in the Indy cars. She is not that bad of a driver. Well, she's not a bad driver, plain and simple. She's not bad at all.
She's really overhyped just because she's a female, though, which...
And she does GoDaddy commercials.
Yeah. But, I'm not going to sit here and blame her for that.
Oh, no.
She had some assets that she could use to get to where she wanted to be.
She's got the woman power. If I had
Good old-
Assets.
if I had boobs, man, I'd flaunt those shits and get all the money I possibly could for her. I wish I had
You're a
them.
whore.
You damn right.
He'd be the new Throatzilla.
I would be. I'd be making bank.
He'd do a really shitty job, though.
All right, so that was the K-Rob Race Report. We're going to go into Homer's brand new segment, the first installment of Homer's Dumbass of the Week.
My dumbass of the week is Kevin.
All right, Kevin wins Dumbass of the Week.
You need to get some fucking internet so you can actually be on your computer, not your phone.
Yeah, that's true. Half
Actually,
of this that the general public is not going to hear has been Kevin doing his best T-Pain impression.
All right, that was Homer's Dumbass of the Week. And that is all for us here at All the Rage Sports. We'll be coming at you next week, bringing you some insight on the NBA Finals, who won it, why they won it, when they won it, all that good stuff. Then we'll be talking about some of the stuff we'll be doing in the future until the start of all the new seasons. All right, so thank you all. Everybody say goodbye. Bye. Bye.
Homer doesn't.
And then Homer giggles in the background.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
All right, thank you all. This was All the Rage Sports Talk.